Wait, do you remember not so long ago, this island back here looked really barren? Remember, I put a little bit too much of the compost mixture inside. I think it was a little too rich, and it just took a long time for the strawberries to kick in. The objective, remember, was this island was supposed to look the same over in this island, but it didn't for a little bit. But now it's full. It looks great now, doesn't it? Anyway, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. A little catch-up edition here about some of the projects that have been going on this past week. I've been quite busy this week. So busy such that I wasn't able to grab the camera and do a lot of the things that I was working on, but I'm going to give you some updates to some of the things I've been working on here around Villa Feliz. But everything, as you see, is doing really good. As a matter of fact, we've been getting rain on a regular basis. And the rain has been making the grass grow, which I need to cut this bluegrass. It's getting to the point now with the rain, during rainy season, it's making the grass do really well, but it's also causing me to cut it more often. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Now, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, before we go down into some of the projects that I've been working on, and it's mainly inside the basement, some things that needed attention that I put off for so long, but I finally found the time and the energy to start working on some of these. And it has to do with part of the initial construction of the house that never got completed or needed some modifications. But before we do, I just want to do a short walk about around the backyard back here. And just make a comment on some of the growth that's been going on back here, because I know a lot of people tune in to see some of the plant growth and monitor all the progress that's going on in the backyard. So let's take a look a little bit around the backyard before it starts raining. I don't know if you see the clouds, but I'm feeling a little bit of drizzle coming down, a little bit of tiny raindrops. And we want to take advantage of the time today, sometime in the backyard, sometime in the basement. So let's take a look around the yard real quick. Now we're going to start off with a really funny story this morning. Well, maybe not funny to you. It's a little funny to me this morning. Ness she orders a lot of our food off of the internet, and they come and they do a delivery. Well, she did a full grocery shopping order this morning, and inside the shipment came not these right here, but a whole bag full of calamansi. And I'm like, Ness, why did you order calamansi when we have a full tree full of it? And this isn't the only tree. We have another tree around the corner over here. I said, and she looked, and she didn't order it. So she went back and she looked at the order that she sent in to the shop that she ordered from, and it wasn't on there. But it wasn't that expensive. It was, I think, around 25 pesos, which is equivalent of around 50 cents here. But she has to be a little bit more careful, she said, the next time she places the order, because they'll show you a printout of the list compared to what you ordered. Yeah, we have plenty. As a matter of fact, many needing picking. Look at these, and ours are just so much nicer than the ones that came in. You see how nice and round and full this one is right here? Well, the ones that came in were quite small. They were about the size of these smaller ones right here, or maybe like this right here. So we have a good stock here. We don't need any more. Let's take a look at a couple other things around the backyard.
They're big. Awesome.
Now, we haven't really focused so much on this new garden back here. Remember, this is the last little island that we put together. And again, more calamansi back here. I said they're all over. They grow really easily. And these were supposed to be dwarf banana plants. I don't know what's going. They're going crazy back here on this island. Now the centaurides here, it's doing really good. I'm surprised. I expected this, with as much shade as we get here, I expected this to be kind of stagnant with its growth. But you can see we have lots and lots of new growth back here. And I planted two at the same time. This one right here and this one right here. but the one over there is doing better, but this one, it seems like the leaves are a little bit broader. So we'll do an experiment to see the difference between full sunshine all day long and partial that we have over here. Now I got to tell you, I haven't mentioned it previously, I don't believe, but I always get excited when my sago palms, or what we call them in the US, sago palms. The A is pronounced ah over here in the Philippines. So since we're in the Philippines, we'll continue to speak as close to Tagalog words as possible. So the sago, I want you to see, this is all new growth. I always get excited when the next layer of sago leaves start to come out. I've counted them on everyone that we've had here, and they're quite successful back here in this area. And the nice thing about palms in the Philippines, they grow 365 days of the year. So you get growth all year round. They don't have like a stagnant hibernation period. So you can see this is the new stuff. And these will continue. And these will grow very tall back here. I've had the same growth over here on this island. But we're back to the standard prawns. I don't see anything new lately. This one over here had some new growth. This one had some new growth. And I'm not sure when the last time I saw a new growth on this one right here. But they're going to be really beautiful along with the date palm in the center. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the date palm. And it will grow really big, but it's a very, very slow growing palm. Now, I was surprised the other day when I walked back here. But you can't see it now because my gardener took it off. But this banana plant right here, this is the Lantundan. It's starting new bananas. He cut the heart off. He cut the bloom, the blossom off, and that will normally stimulate the growth of the bananas. But I have to be careful with this one because this one is leaning over towards Bahay Kubo. I might do what I did with the other one and kind of strap these two together to pull them back and forth and let them support each other. Now I cut down, there used to be a huge Lantundan plant right here, and you can see it's nothing but soil, but after they produce, as I've explained in the past, when they're done producing, you cut it down because it will never produce again. It only produces one time. And we're slowly propagating the Lantundan over here and the Cavendish. This is Cavendish, this is Cavendish, and these are Cavendish right here, and this is Cavendish. We keep propagating them across the fence. You can see they're doing great over in my neighbor's yard over here, over in John's yard. They're doing really good, and I also put some over in Corey's yard as well. So they'll be pleasantly surprised when they come and start building. They already have some banana plants that they can start harvesting immediately. And I also showed you in the opening sequence that the dragon fruit plants here, they're already going over the top and they're starting to come down. I haven't seen any blossoms yet. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years before you actually get the dragon fruit blossom and the fruit itself. So we're going to be patient. We'll keep an eye and we'll keep looking for those blossoms. They're on all 4 posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's multiple ones on there. So they're going to spike out and come down over the side. All right, well, let's go ahead and go down into the basement. We can look at some of the projects that I've been working on this week that I haven't captured on film. Some of these are more like the DIY handyman, or more appropriately, handy person. I know a lot of times I say man's cave or I say handyman type things, but you know, we have a lot of people that tune in that are men and women, and they both enjoy and are doing the same type of projects together, so we don't want to leave anybody out here. So let's go down and take a look at some of the projects I've been working on down there. Alright, well, excuse the basement, excuse it looking such in a disarray. Another word for disarray is it's a mess. Now all this isn't normally out here. All the stuff here used to be inside the generator room over here, and this is where we're going to focus today. I've been working inside the generator room for the last 2, maybe 3 days. I've been working inside here. It was so packed I couldn't gain entry inside. I had so many of the building supplies that were left over from the building project, from the construction, and I whittled it down to items that I know I can't live without right now. I got rid of a lot of tiles, or I donated a lot of the tiles that I have to other people around here. This stack here, before you saw the little wood, I have some plumbing in the back here. This was nothing but tile. So now I just have some leftover composite wood pieces, some stonework, a few pieces of tile, and some plumbing. But we'll clean this up a little bit better, and I'll pull some of the stuff that I got laying out here, which is mainly, a lot of it is Christmas decorations, believe it or not. Now I got to tell you, one thing that's really important, I have to emphasize this. If you are building a house, make sure you include a storage room. Include a storage room inside your house. A lot of people fail to do that, and this is a combination. This is a combination generator room and a storage room right here. But when you build your house, one of the things that you're going to need to do is put your junk somewhere. And I say junk, and I mean it kindly, but this junk is actually projects. These are all projects that I have planned for later on. Koi pond project, lighting projects, many different things, plumbing, electrical. So make sure you do that. But that's not what we're in here for today. What we're in here for today is to talk about the generator. If you remember correctly from my older videos, this generator was used or installed back, 2.5 years ago, and it's been working very good. And I will talk about the good, bad, and the ugly about this generator right here. Let me go grab a cable. I want to show you a cable that used to be connected, and this is the input right here. This is the input to the ATS. So I just want to show you, this is the input to the generator for the ATS, and the ATS, which would normally be right here behind you, and you need a short cable to get to, the ATS is over here on this wall, right next to the breaker panel assembly, which is where I think you should have it. It should be part of your input power coming in from your utility company, in between going over to your circuit breaker box assembly. It makes it very simple for integration, but it also provides a complication if your generator is far away from here. If you remember from our earlier video, oh, here's the cable I'm looking for right here. Our earlier video shows that we did a bit of surgery. This was the original cable. The original cable that comes with the generator is only about this long, maybe just a little bit longer than this right here. And this cable used to be hooked up here and went to the wall where I had my electrician run Cat 6 cable from here all the way over to the ATS, the automatic transfer switch. And it worked fine. It's been working great for 2.5 years. But I had so little cable here, I had it run across here through these little tie cables right here, and then it was stretched. I literally did not have 1 more inch of play. Literally. It was so tight, and I was afraid if something dropped on it or fell, it would break the connection. And these are kind of difficult to kind of find the exact ones that I was looking for. So what I did was I bought an extension cable. I actually had it fabricated in China. I had this extension cable fabricated. It runs back with the electrical line back here. And then I had a receptor, a connector that I mounted to this wall mounting plate that goes through, from there it connects to the Cat 6, and then it goes over to, again, to the ATS over there on the wall. Now, I did all this yesterday. This project I did all day yesterday. Well, half a day yesterday. It has to do with soldering, heat shrink, electrical tape, and making sure your pinouts, you have a ohm meter and your pinout, make sure all your pins are correct. I think I still have my paper for the pinout. Oh yeah. Here's my paper for the pinout, so this kind of shows you how everything is supposed to be connected. So there's 6 wires, there's 6 primary wires that connect this to the other side, which on a Cat 6 cable, you have 8 wires, so I had 2 wires that I didn't need to use. Anyway, we're going to test this out right now. I have not tested it yet, which means I have to turn off the electricity from the utility company to the house, and we have to see if my wires are correct and they will allow the generator to turn on. So let's check this out right now. Okay, now this is kind of the scary part. It shouldn't be scary if you know what you're doing, if you're technically skilled. And if you don't, make sure you have somebody that is technically skilled doing this, because it's a safety factor. And you want to make sure that you don't burn your house down or anything like that. So I did a check and a recheck of all the wires. I believe everything is good. Now what's supposed to happen here, I'm supposed to open up this box. This is the main that comes in from Bottleneck, our utility company. This is our main 240 volts that comes into the house. And then it goes inside the transfer case, the automatic transfer switch right here. An automatic transfer switch is supposed to either sense voltage coming in from the utility company, and if it doesn't see it, it's supposed to send a signal over to the generator to turn on. It will isolate itself from the utility company and just accept a output from the generator, and then we'll have electricity again. Typically we have brownouts, like every 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. We have a brownout here, and this is supposed to bring it up. Now, the way it has always worked in the past, about 8 seconds after we lose power, the generator comes on, and around 10 to 12 seconds, we have electricity again. So that's our worst outage, is about 12 seconds when we have it. And that gives enough time for everything to come back on, the internet and things like that. So let's go ahead and try it. Cross my fingers. All right, we have no more power to the house. And the generator battery is dead. Uh-oh. Okay, the battery is dead. Ay-ya. Alright, now it's time to test everything out with a charged battery inside the generator. So hopefully everything works right. We are in auto. I'm going to shut off the utility power, and with a charged battery and the generator hopefully wired properly, everything should work as advertised. So let's go ahead and try it. We're going to switch over. We're going to go turn off the power from the utility company. Okay, we lost all of our power. The generator should kick in. Then we wait about 8 seconds, and then we should have power again. And we do. We have power. So it seems like everything is working as advertised. Alright, we'll go ahead and reverse everything. We'll shut the generator down, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming changes, modifications that we're going to do, as well as some of the charging devices that I use for charging batteries around the house here. And one more thing I want to show you is about this generator is when the power comes back on from the utility company, there is no interruption in service. The only interruption that we get, since we don't have an UPS, is upon the initial shutdown of the utility company power. But going back to the utility company power, there's no interruption. So we'll bring us back on the utility company. Now the ATS should sense the utility company is stable, shut the generator down with no interruption to service. You see the generator light goes out, and we're back on the house net, which comes from our utility company. So everything seems to be well with the rewiring, so I'm happy with that. Let me show you a couple more things before we close for today. All right, now before we close for today, I promised I'd talk about a couple of my tools that I have inside here, my chargers that I have. And this is a must. I feel this is a must for everybody's workshop. If you have an emergency situation, or even a non-emergency situation where you want to keep your system healthy, your batteries healthy as much as possible, something that's going to have a long-term storage type situation where you don't use it very often, and often that can happen with a gen set. So anyway, I have a battery charger over here that I picked up from Handyman. It's the Panther battery charger model PBC-6A, and it'll work for both a 6-volt and a 12-volt system over here. And depending on the capacity in amp hours, of course, the more amp hours, usually it has a deeper start. It's mainly for bigger type of batteries that you have like inside a truck, like a 60 amp. But the standard, which may be like a 30 amp battery, it will take a very short time to be able to charge it. And that's what I used for the gen set down here. Now I also have this thing called the Battery Tender, the Battery Tender Junior. And this can be left on your battery if you have a long-term storage situation, say like you put your vehicle in storage for a long time, or even a generator set. You can leave this plugged in. And what this does that this doesn't do over here, this has a status. It has a little computer built inside, and it knows when your battery is charged. It will stop charging it. Then over time, as your battery goes down, it will sense it and it will charge it back up. So this will always keep your battery in a charged condition and not overcharge it. That's the thing. With this type of unit over here, you cannot leave it on but for a specific amount of time, or you will overcharge it, and then the battery will get destroyed. It will become destroyed. It will bubble over, and it's very dangerous to do that. So normally when you charge it with this one, you look at how many amperes that you will see, how many amperes on here that it's requiring for a charge. As it gets towards zero, when it gets to zero, you need to make sure you turn this off, because your battery is as charged as it's going to get. Again, you never want to let it overcharge. You also want to make sure you connect it up to the appropriate voltage type of battery. You might have a 6-volt battery for, say, a motorcycle, and a 12-volt battery for a gen set or a vehicle, a car. Anyway, I have these to charge. I charge it. You saw it. We were able to bring the generator back online. Let me show you another mod that I'm going to do to this generator set down here to make it easier to access using either one of these devices right here. Now inside your generator, you normally have a door or some way to access your battery. Here is our battery right here. What I did, I tapped off. You see this little wire here with a wire nut cap on it and another one over for the negative side. What I have to do now to be able to charge without taking the battery out, and it's a pain to take the battery out. It's very tight inside there, and then you would have to take it out. You would have to charge it using one of these devices up here that we just talked about. Then you have to put it back in, you have to connect everything back up, and it is just a pain. So what I did was I tied on a couple of pieces of heavy-duty electrical wire, and I put a nut cap on. So temporarily, I can take my little connectors from the end of my charger, put it on there, and charge it very easily without removing the battery. Now, what I'm going to do on a modification, I'm going to go one step further. You see these little connectors here? This is your 12-volt DC. So when it's running, you can actually pull 12-volt DC if you needed to tap in here and use 12 volts. Well, you see these bulkhead connectors. I ordered 2 more of these bulkhead connectors, a set for a negative and positive. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill a hole in an area inside the case that won't interfere with the rest of the engine. And I'm going to connect one end of these to the back side of the bulkhead terminal connector. Then what I'm going to do, I will have, just like we have over here, we're going to have 2 connectors here. So when I need to connect, I don't even need to open the door. We'll just take the connectors, we'll connect them there, and then we can do a charge. Or we can use our trickle charger to always maintain a positive charge and make sure it never goes below, and we always have a satisfactory battery. Now you can leave this plugged in, this one here, you can leave this plugged into the wall all the time, again, and it will maintain a full charge and not overcharge your battery. So that's what I want to show you. I will show you real quickly what I ordered online on Lazada for those terminal connectors, and they're very inexpensive. Stand by. Alright, so I went online to Lazada.com and I found, it's called the 6mm stud cable remote battery power junction post connector terminal accessory. Now that's a lot of words, but it's nothing but the same thing that you saw on the 12-volt bulkhead connector that's on a generator already that provides an output power when the generator is running of 12 volts. Now what we'll do, like I said, we'll just connect that to the battery so it makes an easy access to it. Now some of you are probably going to ask, oh, is it okay to charge your battery while it is connected to the generator? Why not disconnect the negative battery or the positive battery connector on there? Well, the same thing happens inside your vehicle. If you have a vehicle and you want to do a trickle charge, you don't pull the connectors off of your battery inside your vehicle. So if you don't need to do it inside your vehicle, as you can see, and we've already done it, we did the charge this morning to the generator, it's not really necessary. But if you have any questions, ask a qualified person that has to do with generators or vehicles and get their opinion on it as well. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you found something of use in the event that you have a generator of your own and you want to do some simple modifications to make it easier to use and more functional in your home environment. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. So if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed and notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.